Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello and welcome to the State of the Economy podcast by Business Line. Today we discuss on the real estate trends for the month and going forward. We have with us Mr. Mallanna Sasalu, the CEO of Provident Housing. Mr. Mallanna Sasalu, who is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Provident Housing, has a tremendous career, spans a number of years and works on scaling up of profitable real estate development in startups, fundraising. And in terms of Provident Housing, it is a subsidiary of the Puravankara Group. Welcome to Business Line's podcast, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Sir, if you can run us through a brief outlook of what FY23 was. What is the numbers going for FY23 for Provident and what is it going forward?
So far, we have started the first quarter of the year has started very well. We announced as a group that what was our number, and so now numbers are going to be announced for the first quarter. And we have done okay so far. And I think going forward, looking at the industry, the way it is progressing, we see robust sales going up. And also, I think on 10th, there is an all-important meeting of the RBI to look at the interest rates, and we are expecting it to remain unchanged. So with that, I'm sure that the 21% or 27% quarter compared to the previous years, the first quarter to this year, the growth has been more than 27%. So which means that we are in a good place, I think.
So in FY23, that's last year, if I remember, you sold around 1.93 lakh million square feet across 1,800 odd units. What is the trend now? Any such target numbers that you have from Provident's point of view for this year?
We have, in the sense that it all depends on the launches, what we are coming up with. We have around 5.8 million square feet of total development that's coming, that we are putting it out this year, planning to put out this year. And there's 5 projects, 3 in Bangalore, 1 in Cochin, and 1 in Chennai. It's roughly around 2,800 units. We are looking for a very good growth this year. But having said that, these are all things that the approvals have to happen. We should be doing somewhere around 1,500 to 1,600 crore rupees of business this year.
And again, in terms of business, sir, if I may ask, how does the sector look like, especially in these markets that you're having launch projects? Are these user-driven markets? Are these investor-driven markets? Are these community developments in the sense like, are these condominiums or are these plotted developments? What sort of category are you playing in?
Currently in Provident, what we do is that we are into mostly between 30 lakhs rupees to 90 lakhs rupees, or not topping up to 1 crore rupee. And that's the kind of market that we're operating in. And of course, under the Provident brand, we have Purva Lands, where Provident owns the land, and our brand, which we call it as Purva Lands, also develops plotted development across the residential sector. Irrespective of the price, I think the sales are robust in the market. So we are seeing that, as we go forward, this will only be picking up and remain like this for at least another couple of years. Market will remain robust for the next 2 to 3 years at least, the way we are looking at. And also that this time around, if you look at the launches, that most developers are exercising quite a bit of caution in bringing into the market, in the sense that unlike in previous, whenever that there was an upturn in the market, that the stock used to come to the market, in heaps, and which used to have a lot of, kind of competition, and also the prices tend on going up, sometimes unreasonably. But this time around, I think, the supply and the demand are matching, and I think that we have a good run.
So when you say the price points you're playing across are around 30 lakhs to 90 lakhs, this typically categorizes 2 very generic categories, if we take it on a broad scale: affordable, mid to mid premium categories of housing. So if we ask this question in a reverse way, how is both the segments playing out? There have been multiple reports which says that affordable housing has not been playing out as per expectations of developers. If I remember correctly, you also started off as a primarily affordable player. How is it changing, and what led shift in the market? What are your views on that?
See, from the beginning, the definition of affordable housing has always been a little bit of unclear, right? Because when the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana came in, the affordable housing was considered to be 20 lakhs rupees, economically weaker section, lower income group, and so on and so forth. But from the private side, it's always been around 45 lakhs rupees was the affordable housing. Now, with the inflation and everything else and whatever that has happened in the market, and I thought affordable housing in any of the larger cities, metros, I don't think there's a, it can be less than 60 lakhs rupees. A 2 bedroom or a 2.5 bedroom apartment would be 60 to 65. So when we say 30 lakhs rupees to 90 lakhs rupees, if it is 1 bedroom apartment, it will be selling at somewhere around 45 lakhs rupees. If it is a pod or a studio, it may be selling at 35 lakhs rupees. If it is a 3 bedroom we are in something like, we call them as 3 bedroom comfort and 3 bedroom grand. And if they come into the market, 70 lakhs, 80 lakhs, 90 lakhs. And depending on the geography and pricing of the land will also play a role in determining that price. And that's the reason why we call it as 30 to 90 lakhs rupees. And if the measurement of affordable housing is revised to 60 lakhs rupees, and you will see that actually there is a huge uptake that has happened in the market. If you go back and look at 40 lakhs and 45 lakhs rupees, and the market has moved on. And I think the definition of affordable housing need to be matched to what has moved on.
So this has been something that we have been hearing from across developers, because we speak to quite a few, that the definition of affordable housing needs to change. It cannot be 40, 45 lakh, because a typical example they give is 45 lakhs is basically not even the land price in Bombay. If I take Bombay as a parameter. Now, similarly, Bangalore developers are saying that there's a lot of question that is coming up on the 45 lakh price bracket, because it really doesn't suit the purpose. So in this context, again, have you reached out to the government to redefine this affordable housing? I mean, is something happening? Because there are a lot of forums, like in the sense like Credai, Narendco, all these players all these forums are there for the real estate players. Are you trying to redefine this affordable housing category?
There were always two definitions of affordable housing, one from the government perspective, one from the private perspective. And the government perspective was never 45 lakhs rupees. Government perspective was that if it is EWS, it is 30 square meters, and if it is LIG, it is 60 square meters. They were looking at somewhere around 18 lakhs rupees to 25 lakhs rupees as the affordable housing. That was the definition. And also it was tied to the income, 3 lakhs rupees per annum. If people earned, then they will go and buy the EWS, and 6 lakhs rupees if people earn, they buy the LIG. 6 lakhs rupees means 50,000 rupees per month. If 50,000 rupees per month means, even if you say that they are going to be making 40% of their income, they are going to be putting it on their house EMI. They would have a 20,000 rupees in their pocket to pay the EMI. It means that, we were never able to manage that. And if you really look at it across the board, the real estate developers, we could not participate in the affordable housing as the government saw that. It was not possible. So now what has happened is that the government has also retracted. Right now, there is no more affordable housing. There is affordable housing definition, and it is not geared towards the government, geared towards the private developers. It is more towards the government actually developing it and handing it over to the people, where the government owns the land and they develop it. And they get the benefit from the central government, that is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. State governments and the state government bodies like Karnataka Housing Board and others, they get the benefit from the central government. And more or less as of today, the private players are out of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana.
And again, between your categories, plotted and condominiums, which one fares better, and where do you see traction in the future days to come? In this 2-3 years that you are so bullish about, where do you see the traction coming?
See, both of them are doing extremely well at this point of time. And in my opinion, that the plotted development is a little bit of a futuristic thing. And so there are a lot of people, and people who are buying that are generally going in as it's a two stops towards acquiring their own home. First, you put some money and you buy the plot and wait for some time, and then go and build the house so that you can make your own house. And also people who have some, I already have one small house, and so that, I will make some investment into the plotted development. And so that will continue that way. But I think the condominiums will continue to drive the market, simply because as when the privatization, the way it is happening at this point of time, people coming in, and people have understood that the community living, and also it is, I want it in 1 year. I want to buy a house in 1 year. I know those kind of situation when it comes, and I think condominiums will continue to do that compared to the plotted development.
And across these new projects, the interest is generated primarily from first-time buyers or upgrades, or is it primarily investors buying it and then trying to rent it out because these come at somewhat of a more of, let's say, mid-range in prices when you see the demand?
I would say more than 70% of them are first-time buyers, and maybe
Okay.
other 30% of the people could be anybody who could be having a lot of money who's trying to buy 2-3 apartments, or somebody who says, okay, let me have one more house where I can get some rent, depending on which location the asset is in. So it is driven by the end users.
A lot of reports also came out in the initial let's put it in this way, the last few quarters of FY23, that since rate hikes were going up and since the rates were going up, the RBI's rates were going up, this led to a slowdown in housing growth. Is it still the scenario now, or is it back to normal growth? What is it now?
You saw last 2 times when the RBI took the interest rate up, actually did not dent the buying spree from the people. And in fact, the last one when they sat, they did not increase it. And this time also we are thinking that they're not going to increase. It's simply because house buying and paying the EMI is not, people have understood, is not something that we do over just 1 or 2 years, or what's happening in the immediacy that interest rates are going up, interest rates are coming down. It's almost 25-30 years of EMI paying, right? So most of them are looking at 0.5% going up into how much would that be on an EMI basis. It's maybe 1,000 rupees or 1,500 rupees or 2,000 rupee dent on a 50,000, 60,000 rupees EMI. So that is not affecting. And historically, Indian interest rates were never less than 8%. Only in the last 5 years that it had come down to somewhere around 6.5-7%. And then this is the normal. When you look at a country like India, where inflation is regularly at around hovering between 6.5, I would suggest that interest on housing loan can't be so close to the inflation itself. It will be 1 or 2 basis points higher than that.
And again, as you rightly pointed out, that you expect rates to remain stable, or rather no hikes in rates this time around also. In case there's a hike, let's just presume it's a completely hypothetical situation. In case there's a traditional 25 BPS or hike, how do developers, do you have a plan B for that? What are your plan Bs then?
So we can't see, this is something that's not in our control. We can't do much about it. That, it's a larger economic event that happens when interest rates goes up. So we're just part of that event. We don't foresee that this is going to have a larger effect if that happens, because I'm not expecting it to go up. As I said, a 0.25% going up is not something that it is going to make a huge dent on the spirits of the people buying the house. As I said earlier, the EMI is only going to be around, depending on what is your total borrowing, and it will be in hundreds and 1 or 2,000 rupees per month, going up or going down.
And if I may ask, how much investments have you put in so far across the existing projects of yours?
The ongoing projects in Provident is somewhere around 6 million square feet, right? 6 million square feet. Even if I say that, 3,000 rupees is what including my GST construction cost, or give or take 100, 200 rupees this or that side, it goes to upwards of 1,800 crore rupees on construction itself, right? So this year, as I said, we've got another 5.8 million square feet we are launching, which is around 2,000 crore rupees of investment is going to go. And mind you, this is barring the land. The calculation, I've not taken the land, just the construction side of what I'm talking about, right? Then there are other services and other things that we take from the people, such as architects and others. So, and upwards of 2,000 crore rupees of what has already been invested, another 2,000 crore rupees is what is going to be invested going forward.
Finally, one of my questions is, again, a very futuristic one. Going forward, would you look to upgrade further? I mean, right now, I know you're already at the 90 lakh bracket, but would you look at premium housing projects anytime soon?
As Provankara group that we have got, we are there in every asset class that you can think of, right? But as Provident, our focus will remain between this 30 to 90 lakhs rupees whatever, because I do not categorize anything as affordable, unaffordable, mid-size, mid segment and other things. My focus is group housing at a large scale, right? So that is our focus. Once in a while, what happens is that there will be some land parcel that comes up which requires a different approach, and we won't hesitate to go and do something that is a little bit higher, 1.5 crores or 1.6 crore rupees. But that is not our focus. That will not be in large numbers. Here and there, that can happen because of the way business is going to get structured when we have a land parcel.
Is any fundraising plans for this 2,000 crore?
As developers, we continue to be looking for funds, right? Now, that is the business. The business itself is like that. As we need to expand, and we will be looking for funds, and we are speaking to several, private equity investors and others, and also that, of course, there are banks and construction finances, and then we're acquiring lands that we are looking for, finances. So, but at the same time, that more than 30% of the money comes from us on any investment. So it's an ongoing thing. I don't want to put a finger and say that we want this much money or that much money. But as and when we address and expand, we will be going for looking for money and fundraising. Fundraising is a constant endeavor.
You had, as Puravankara, you had pioneered the concept of project-based funding, like getting a particular PE for a particular project. Is this the same that you plan in Provident for these large-scale projects that you are looking at now?
So currently, that is the way it is going, and it does not mean that we cannot do a platform, right? We can do a platform of 4 or 5 or 6 projects together, and those kind of investors when they have the appetite, and we will be looking at it. And as you know that we are working with IFC, and IFC usually works with us on that basis. So 2 or 3 projects, they come together on 2 or 3 projects, then on a blended thing is what we are doing with them. And of course, we are also doing many number of project by project kind of financing as well, or the investments as well. So nothing stops us from looking for new avenues to build a platform funding.
Sure, sir. That would be all from my end, sir. Thank you. Thank you for speaking to us and for taking time out to.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure to be with you, Abhishek.